The Department of Environment, in partnership with 3 international organizations, hosted NGOs and the media for a one-day oil pollution, preparedness, response and cooperation sensitization workshop. But how much risk is Belize exposed to, and how prepared are we?
There is currently risk of oil spill here in in Belize, and we need to make sure that Belize is doing everything possible to be prepared for that risk.
Would you say we're ready for a risk?
I think that there's definitely room for improvement. And D.O.E. is leading that effort to get an oil spill plan in place to bring the stakeholders to the table so that everyone who has a part to make sure that Belize is prepared is part of the conversation.
What are some critical areas that you think we need to explore and look at and possibly adapt?
I think the first thing that, and it's one of the first things that D.O.E. is doing right now is great, which is to chart and to locate and identify all those areas that are sensitive to oil spills. And of course, Belize has many. There's always a risk whenever you look at a new avenue for exploring oil or transporting oil. But from my standpoint is that there currently is a risk. There are large super tankers that transit offshore through Belize waters right now on innocent passage carrying massive amounts of oil. And that exists whether the risk is from a well someday offshore. But for me, I think that you need to be more concerned about the risk that currently exists.
Being exposed to that risk makes it critical to assess the effectiveness of oil spill response capability, says veteran oceanographer and oil spill expert Dr. Elliot Taylor.
Doing response simulations, or what we call exercises, are very important. It just brings all the people that will play at the time of an actual incident together, so that you practice implementing a plan. You already know each other personally. You know where your strengths are. There's a certain expectation about roles and responsibilities and how each different organization or person can contribute effectively to the response. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and the country knows that. And one has to look at the broader international framework to see how Belize can situate itself within that framework to be best prepared to respond to something that we all hope never ever happens.
Part of that preparedness is the draft National Oil Spill Contingency Plan that is currently under revision.
The National Oil Spill Contingency Plan we have in place. We know what the command structure is. From the draft document itself, we have a command structure. We have some equipment on site. We're hoping to update and improve that and strengthen that ability through this process. When we finish the draft document and it gets approved, we will have a simulation exercise. The objective of the workshops between last year, today, and the next 2 days is to strengthen our capacity so we can improve the existing document and approve the existing document.
Contributing to the document today are OCEANA and Healthy Reefs.
I'm definitely confident that this is a step in the right direction, but this is just the beginning. This is the NGO, the media, and D.O.E., but this needs to be a much larger conversation where all the stakeholders are at the table, the fishing communities, the tourism community members, other government agencies. This cannot be held in isolation. These are public resources, and they're very important to a wide cross-section of Belizeans.
One of the things that we've recognized as Healthy Reefs for Healthy People is that there's still a big gap in understanding where our aquifers for fresh water is, and there are a lot of us who depend on that water, and it just hasn't been assessed. As a country, we need to know where those sensitive areas are, because it could affect our economy and Belizeans in general if it isn't doing that already.
Reporting for News 5,